Welcome to another power scaling video. This one is one I've been sitting on for quite a while, so let's not waste any time. Today's matchup is Nobara Kugisaki, user of Straw Doll technique from the so-called best new gen Jujutsu Kaisen, versus God Usopp, the resident sniper of the Straw Hat Pirates from the longest running of the big three, One Piece. Specifically, I mean Nobara from her latest appearance being her death in chapter 125, versus Usopp from his latest point as of making this video being chapter 1111. I have a fair amount to say, so let's just talk about it. Nobara Kugisaki is the first year in Jujutsu High, but she has incredible potential and an incredibly strong curse technique. But let's start off with her speed first. So, she's able to match Mahito's clone with Subsonic. I got this from Versus Wiki, which I know can be a bit unreliable, but there's no other feats I can draw from. Next is her defense. There's not a lot to say about her defense. She's still able to be fine while being poisoned by Eso and Ketchizu. Haruta punches her really hard in the jaw, even saying it rattled her brain, but she's still able to be fine a while later. Finally is her strength and her abilities, and she has a really strong curse technique, which is Straw Doll technique. It allows her to do all kinds of things with nails imbued with cursed energy. Her strongest moves are Resonance, allowing her to hit someone's soul if she strikes a nail at them, and Straw Doll technique, allowing her to practically blow someone up if she has a body part of theirs, and hits with a nail on top of the Straw Doll. She has more abilities and more usage of her nails, as she's able to move them around and blow them up. She even shoots these nails by hitting them with a hammer. She has a range of 10 meters for her nails. She also is able to land a Black Flash, which is concentrated cursed energy, and if you land it, your use and understanding of cursed energy improves and grows. And that's pretty much all I have for her. Not a lot, and definitely not a lot compared to what I'm going to say for Usopp, but hey, there's not a lot to say for her, but yeah. I got these feats from the manga and her Versus Wiki, which I'll definitely link in the comments. Next is Usopp, hailed as a god and is basically the Swiss Army knife of the Straw Hats. Let's start with his speed. Usopp is able to dodge lightning fired by a Nell and is equal to Nami, who dodges it if you don't believe the previous panel. This puts him at massively hypersonic speeds. Next is his defense, and hoo boy can he tank a hell of a lot. He can tank Mr. 5's explosion point blank, which is calced at multi-city block level. He also tanks attacks from Jabra, which is calced at city level, and Ulti's headbutt, which is calced at island level. That is too insane. That feels absurd, right? I don't think he can tank a bloody island level attack. I'd put him at a little under city level at most. I think he's even lower than that, but definitely more than multi-city block level. I cannot find much about Usopp's strength. He's certainly strong, but I can't find anything that doesn't have to do with the impact dial. So I can't say much on it. Lastly and definitely not least, are Usopp's abilities. Well, he doesn't have a traditional devil fruit. He has observation haki, but he has only used it once and it was never elaborated on or brought up again. He'll probably get it under control in Elbaf, but that time hasn't come yet. It was only used one time, when he saw Luffy, Sugar, and Law on the other side of Dressrosa Island. Through sheer scope of observation haki, this is, I think, personally, this is one of the top 3 feats in the series, the other two being Shanks seeing Green Bull and what he was doing inside Wano from outside of Wano, and Enel knowing every single thing that happened down to every conversation in Skypiea. Other than that, Usopp has shown to use an impact dial that can absorb damage and release it, but Usopp hasn't used this since post-timescale, so I'm not sure if he still has it. Usopp's main weapon is his Kabuto and Pop Greens, which are weaponized plants that he shoots from afar. Usopp is a sniper after all, with his best feat being shooting an attack from one side of Dressrosa to the other and through a small part of a window of a castle. For reference, Dressrosa is the city that takes up the entire island. He's also able to make a giant green wolf an explosion in the shape of a skull, and a giant firebird, and his best weapon is wit. Usopp isn't the strongest, in fact he's the weakest Straw Hat, but what he lacks in brawn, he certainly makes up in brains. He uses tricks and lies to best his opponent. From boasting his 1,000-men army to casually throwing around a 10-ton hammer. No matter his opponent, he finds a way to get the mental high ground of his opponent. Yeah, he's quite a fighter. Not as much of hacks as Nobara, but he's certainly got a lot in his arsenal. I got these feeds from Versus Wiki and the manga. Before we talk about the fight itself, let's talk about context. Here, we'll talk about where these two will be fighting, why they're fighting, how they'd interact, and what their win conditions are. There isn't a reason to go over verse equalization, so that won't be factored into this. These two will fight in a random city outside of Japan in a world they aren't familiar with. Now this is where it gets interesting. Why are they fighting? Well, in a previous video, I did Luffy vs Gojo, and there I had Gojo fight Luffy on a mission. So here I'd have Nobara accompany Gojo and take on Usopp since he's in Luffy's group. Usopp doesn't kill while Nobara is willing to. So, because of this, Nobara's win condition is killing Usopp, and Usopp's win condition is simply knocking her out or managing to successfully shake her off. Now that we've had that sorted out, let's start. Usopp is a long-ranged fighter, although he finds himself often fighting mid to close range. The main problem he faces is his confidence. Usopp's gimmick, other than lying, is that he's terrified. He often finds himself terrified of most situations and runs away in most fights, at least in the beginning. This could be his death or just another one of his annoying things before he wins. Nobara isn't one to let go of Usopp, but he is a lot faster than her, and he'd probably use pop greens to stop Nobara from catching up to him. Once he'd get out of his slump, I'm sorry Nobara fans, but Usopp stomps and it's not even fair. Nobara has a very explosive attacks, I'll give you that. But Usopp is very good at using his environment to his advantage. To be fair, Nobara is as well. I don't think Nobara would fall for his cheap tricks, but Usopp could easily overwhelm her with his pop greens and set them on fire with a firebird star. Nobara has very devastating attacks, especially ones that damage the soul, but I don't think she could even reach, let alone attack Usopp, and even if she did, I think he'd tank a few of the hits. Usopp has a lot more range, AoE, tricks, speed, and strength than Nobara, so he clears mid difficulty. And let's just go over this now. There are some people who want to talk about just pure bloodlust, death battle, ignore what they're like, how they'd interact, just let them kill each other. In that scenario, Usopp still stomps. Nobara will be a lot more relentless and a lot more explosive, but I think Usopp can also use stuff to his advantage, which he doesn't usually do, like using the wolf, the green wolf, but setting it on fire, or trying to use as many tricks as possible. I think he has a lot more in his arsenal that we give him that he can just screw over Nobara with. The one thing she has that would genuinely screw him over is Straw Technique and Resonance, but I highly doubt she'll be able to get those off. So in that case, I think he still wins, but he'd have a much more difficult time because Nobara would be using more explosive attacks relentlessly. Yeah. And that's all, folks. I thank you very much for your time and hope you'll join me next time. Please feel free to share what your thoughts on my thoughts are, what your thoughts on your thoughts are, and generally anything you feel like sharing, as long as it's on topic and respectful. No point in being toxic, as it only hurts ourselves, and we'll generally have a better time being civil. Anyway, that's enough blabbering out of me for the day, so goodbye. As you know, this is an unscripted outro. This last segment, it acts as like a little thing in the background for you to click off if you feel like it. If you want to stay, thanks. So, today's topic, as always, I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out that One Piece hasn't released new chapters, but to be fair, Oda's health is most important. JJK, I don't know how I feel about it right now. I'm glad the cycle seems to be ending. At the same time, Sukin's Black Flash is really annoying. I know people are really defending it to the death, and people are also criticizing it. I'm kind of lying in the middle at this point, where I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand where people are coming from. I want Jujutsu Kaisen to end, simply because I want to collect my thoughts. I'm gonna read the entire thing, make like some massive review on it. Yeah, I want to make more power scaling videos. I don't have any ideas. Once again, anyone who watches, feel free to give your ideas in the comments below. I've watched my fair share of anime and read my fair share of manga, so I'll try to do it. If it's something I haven't watched, I'll put it on hold. Maybe I'll like it when I've watched or read anime or manga that you're talking about. I can't wait for tomorrow's Undead Unlock chapter. As of recording this, it is Saturday, 31st. So yeah, I'm not sure what else. Sign of Affection is finished. I'm kind of sad about that. Solo Leveling wasn't finished, but that was good. I can't wait to finish 20th Century Boys. One, because it's amazing. I want to see it end because, you know, I want to see like the big mystery stuff. And also, I will probably I will read the Solo Leveling's manhwa once I finish 20th Century Boys. I looked at online, and after 20th Century Boys, I kind of want to read the creators' other stuff, like Monster, Billy Bats, and Pluto. So we'll have to see about that. I plan to. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.